Greetings, folks. If you're watching this in the future, please leave a like and please subscribe. Helps out these streams a lot, helps out the channel a lot. But yeah, so we're on to day 40 days without crashing. 88 days total. I'm going to be going back to the Isle of Man today. Going to be doing this Ballaugh to Guthrie's section once more. We did this yesterday or the day before? Yesterday, I think. Yeah, yesterday I ended the stream pretty early because I was super tired. Feeling much better today. I got a nice little nap in. I drank some tea before the stream. Drank some water, so I'm feeling pretty good. Yeah, I kind of want to do a long stream tonight. I want to do like 2.5 or 3 hours if I can. That'd be very cool. Really get to know this section of the track. But yeah, if you haven't heard from my other streams, I finished all 4 sections of the Isle of Man mod. So we've got this mod here. If you haven't heard my spiel about it, it's a very long track, and it's a very long track, and the game GP Bikes doesn't really jive with very long tracks too well. If you go too far away from the center point of the map, then it struggles to position the bike, so it starts to shake around the road, sort of randomly. And so this mod is amazing and very beautiful, but kind of unplayable. So I reached out to Fixer, the author of the mod here, and asked him if I could edit it and break the whole thing into sections. And so we've got all four sections now, and they all work in game. Got Governor's Dip to Sarah's Cottage. Really, I think I might shorten this a little bit to Glen Helen, just to match the real life sectors. And then we've got Sarah's to Ballaugh Bridge. That's the end of the second sector in real life as well. Then we've got Ballaugh to Guthrie's Memorial, the one that I'll be riding today. And then finally we've got Guthrie's back to Governor's Dip. And I think before I end up releasing this mod, I'm going to change this to Guthrie's to the finish line, so that you can finish like a full lap and easily time it without having to load Governor's to Sarah's again just to get back to the starting line. So I'm gonna extend this one a tiny bit. Right now it ends just after Governor's Bridge, but really it should just go back to the finish line. But yeah, so that's big news. That's huge. I've never made a mod for a game before, and I had no idea what I was doing going into this. I'd never opened Blender. I think the only 3D modeling experience I had was in a class in high school, a CAD class. And so I had to learn the basics of Blender. I had to figure out how to make a mod for this game. But we got it done, and it's still very unfinished. We don't have pictures or very little track info. There's my name right there. But yeah, they're all playable, so big news. The mod should be finished like early January, definitely before January 15th. I should have this thing in a form that would be able to be released to the public. So that's huge. That's cool. Very, very proud of myself for that. After this, I'd love to move on to doing other tracks as well. I've got a number of ideas. I love road tracks, so at some point in the future I'd love to do the Tail of the Dragon. That one's not in this game yet. I'd love to do some of the sections of Skyline Drive. over in Virginia. That'd be awesome. I'd love to do the Targa Florio. That's another huge track, and that's one that I would have to break into sections too, but I'd love to be able to ride the Targa Florio. And from what I know, that would be relatively easy actually, because it's already a mod in a number of different racing simulators like Assetto Corsa and a number of other ones. And I've heard that it's relatively easy to just port current mods from those games over into GP bikes here. So yeah, I've got a lot of ideas. I'd love to make a bike mod as well. From what I know, the only two bikes based on real world data, the only bike mods are this R1 here and the R6. I forget, Tomahawk's R6. Those are the only bikes based on real world data, and that's just what I love to do in this game. I want the most realism possible for whatever reason. And so I'd love to make a bike mod based on real world data, and I kind of want to do the SV650, at least as far as my first bike mod goes, because we've got this super fast 1000 here, we've got a relatively fast 600. I'd like something that people can sort of use as practice, so a SV650 would be good for that too. And I think after that, if I'm successful making that mod, I'd love to do a supermoto based on real world data too. That'd be fun. You could have a lot of fun with the supermoto on what is it? Akaroa TT and Akaroa. The turns in that track are super sharp, and so I feel like a supermoto would be really fun for those tracks. But yeah. So that's about all the updates I have, I think. Been riding my KLR in real life a good bit more now that it's all fixed and good. I think in the next few days, actually, I'm going to change the tires on it. The tires that I've got on it are very old, and not very old, but very used. I've got almost 12,000 miles on the current set of tires almost. The rear tire, it's pretty much bald. The tread is completely gone on the rear tire, but on the front tire, it's like still not even at the wear marks, and it's got 12,000 miles on it. It's kind of crazy. But I've got some new tires, gonna put those on, and I kind of want to paint and re-true the rims as well. So I think I might just like totally unlace the rims, paint all of the different components, paint the spokes, paint the nipples, paint the rims, and then put on some new tires and then reinstall them. I think that'd be awesome. I want to do some black rims on it. It'd be cool. Excuse me. And then I also want to change the seals on my forks. They're getting kind of old. They're leaking a little. And there was one more thing I wanted to do. I want to paint my gas tank chrome, or chrome it, actually, with like nickel and stuff like that. To be interesting. But enough yapping. Let's get into this ride. Again, I want to do a longer ride today. I want to do like 2.5 to 3 hours. I want to go until like midnight. That'd be awesome. So, gonna be going a little faster. We feel good today, and it should be a relatively entertaining stream. I don't know the corners well yet, so I'm gonna be going decently slow for the first little while until I really get the hang of the Carrowmore section. That's really the only section in this particular sector that I don't know well. So from what is it? I don't know, the corner from Sulby Bridge to Milntown. That whole section I do not know. So I'm going to be sticking to one lane, going to be just sticking to the left lane for the most part today. Going to be going slightly slow until I really get the hang of that whole Caramore section, and then we'll start to speed it up a little bit. But yeah, it'll be a nice long stream. I think we're good, people. Let's get into it. There's a little dip in the track right there that's kind of important to know about. Alright, so this whole section all the way up to Milltown is a total mystery to me. I'm going to be paying very close attention and going pretty slow through it for the majority of the stream today as I learn it. I think there's a corner in it called Glenduff. That's about the extent of my knowledge of it. Glenduff. I don't really know where Glenduff is. I think it's the corner right before Milltown, or Milltown Cottage. Oh, and K-Tree is here as well. K-Tree is right before Milltown Cottage, I want to say. And then I think Glenduff is before K-Tree. But let's see where K-Tree is. And there's a couple very sketchy corners up here too that can catch you out if you're not careful. So this is K-Tree up here, I want to say. This one right here. Yep, there's the K. Then I think we're going up to Milltown Cottage. Which might be... No, it's not that. This might be Milltown Cottage. And then is this Milltown up here? We've got those 30-mile-per-hour speed limit signs, and here is Milltown. Cool. So we go K-Tree, and then there's a few turns, and we're at Milltown Cottage, and then we're at Milltown. That was Crookshanks a couple corners ago, and then this corner has a fun name, but I kind of forget what it is. Then we've got the Ramsey hairpin. And then this leads up to Waterworks, I want to say. Got a right, then a left, and then we're at Waterworks. It's a shallow corner at first, and then a somewhat tight corner. Then I think this particular section right here has a name. I forget what it is, and then we're going into Tower Bends up here. This is Tower Bends. And we're at the Gooseneck. And then I don't know if these corners are named here, but I think there's like 3 lefts. And then maybe a chicane into Joey's, maybe. There's the 3rd left. Is this Joey's right here? It is, okay, so it's just 3 lefts into Joey's. And then we're pretty much at Guthrie's after that. I think around this bend up here is Guthrie's Memorial. Indeed, okay. And then after that bend over there is the end of the section, so we'll be going a U-turn. And if I drop the bike, I will not be counting it. We do not count dropped bikes in this particular series here. So let's see if I do drop the bike. Oh, we're good. Okay. I'd love to do something about all this black here. I don't know if I deleted like a certain texture or something like that, and that's why it's all black. But I'm gonna try to do something about that before I release these mods. I wonder if I just need to like lower the skybox or something like that, because we got all this like scenery right here. Although going this direction, you're looking at the ocean, so I might need to do like a different skybox or something like that. We've got a little bit of shaking in this section, and it's a little bit excessive. I think I might shift the whole section over a little bit before I do release this, because the shaking's a little excessive, and this is an important part of the track, so I want it to be smooth. I might shift it over so that the section over near Ballaugh is a little bit more shaky. So here we're at Schoolhouse. Let's remember the order of these corners. We're at Schoolhouse, then we're at Milltown. Then we're at Milltown Cottage, which is just a sweeping corner, I think. Yep. But this might be Milltown Cottage right here. Then, where's K-Tree? How many corners do we have until K-Tree? We've got one here. one here, and then it's pretty much a straight, and I think this is K-tree up here, so there's really only two corners between, yeah, only two corners between K-tree and Milltown Cottage. Then, I don't know this whole section leading back up to the Selby Straight, so let's just pay attention. On my neck and I really want to scratch it, but I don't want to let go of the controller. I'm going to power through it. I'll power through this itch right here. This whole section is such a mystery. It all looks exactly the same. On my next loop, I'm just gonna be paying attention for the surprise corners. So I think like this one right here is kind of a surprise corner. And then right after, or right near the beginning of Carramore is another surprise corner, so I'm just going to be paying attention for that so I know when I should be slowing down. But here we are back at Selby Bridge. This could be a surprise corner, but I'm already aware of it. I almost crashed here when I was doing I quit Twitch. I was going like really fast in this direction, and there's that, it's like a little hill leading right up into that 90-degree turn right back there. And I was just going so fast and almost freaking crashed. Bends. Then I think this is leading into Ballaugh. It's a big left-hander into Ballaugh right up here, I want to say. Indeed, okay, cool. So we got Ballaugh, and then we're pretty much back at Ballaugh. Right here. Excuse me. Alright, so this time around, let's just watch out for surprise corners in the Carramore section. Try not to drop the bike in this U-turn, but again, we do not count dropped bikes in this series, so just like that. Not counted. The annoying thing though, I think, after I respawn my bike after dropping it like that is, I think that resets my tire temperature, so just gotta be aware that I've got cold tires now. I kind of wanted to go into the mod and see if I can, like the bike mod, and see if I can edit the initial tire temperature, because when I end up riding all of these sections in order, like doing the full Isle of Man track, when I start each section, it will reset my tire temperature, so I'll pretty much like always have cold tires if I don't do anything about it. So I'm going to try to go into the mod and see if I can like adjust the initial tire temperature. Almost do like a tire warmer mod or something like that. The track drops away right there, right after Salty Bridge. It is useful to remember, but this right here is a surprise corner. Let's pay attention for other surprise corners. I think there's one coming up in like 3 or 4 corners. So we got this double apex, and then this is a surprise corner right here. If you don't brake for this, you're done. Got another sweeping right. Left. And we got a straight here. Long straight right here. These corners aren't too bad. Sweeping right. This could be another, yeah, this is definitely another surprise corner. Okay, so that's 3. And then we're at K Tree, and then we're pretty much good until we get into Milltown. So, alright, so there are 2 surprise corners. There's one right after Salty Bridge at that hotel place that I forget the name of. Then there's pretty much like a long, like double or triple apex right, and then you're pretty much right into your second surprise corner, and then there's a bunch of corners in between that and the third surprise corner, which is just in the middle of Caramar. I have no idea exactly where, and then you're pretty much good until you get into Milltown, and then it's pretty much smooth sailing until you're on the mountain. So very good to know. Let's try to remember the order of corners leading into that third surprise corner on our next loop. Yeah, the shaking in Ramsey is a little bit too intense for my liking, so I'm going to shift this whole section a little bit further toward the center before I release it. This is a surprise corner, definitely. You want to have your braking good for that right there. Yeah, from what I remember, there's not too much shaking over in the left. So I think I can afford to move the track a little bit. Pretty cool. That's a triple apex right there, leading into Guthrie's. We're at the end of the section. If I drop the bike, I'm not counting it. But we don't drop it. I'm excited to start practicing the mountain, start going a little bit faster. On the next loop, I should really pay attention to these few corners right here leading up into Joey's. I think it's 3, 4 apexes maybe. Just a long series of right-handed turns after the gooseneck. 5 maybe. Shaking here is, I do not like this much shaking, so I'm definitely gonna edit the track a little bit. I might even do that tomorrow, and it shouldn't take too long because I think I shouldn't need to redraw another track center line. I should just be able to use the one that is on here already. Just shift it over with the track a little bit. So tonight, whenever I'm in this section right here, this whole Ramsey section, I'm going to be going pretty slowly just because the shaking is just a little bit unmanageable. Alright, so we've got Milltown Cottage. Then what's after this before Guthrie? What's leading into Guthrie? We've got a little bit of a right. Then a left. So it's just a right and a left, and then we're at Guthrie between here and Milltown Cottage. Then after Guthrie, we've got a bit of a left-hander, then another left, and then I think a sweeping left with a right. And then this is a surprise corner right here. So there's not much between here, the surprise corner, and Guthrie. Now what's between here and the next surprise corner? I think this is the long straight right here. Or maybe not. Is this the long straight? Yeah, this might be the long straight right here. I have no idea. Alright, here's the surprise corner right here. So it's just a long left-hander, and then we're at the next surprise corner, which is right up here. And then we're at Selby. braking points for this straight yet, nor how long it really is. Ballaugh. Excuse me. Alright, so let's just pay attention on this loop to what is between the second and third surprise corners. Because after the third surprise corner, I think it's just like 1 or 2 corners and then we're at K-Tree. Jump right there. Then we're going into quarry bends up here. Then there's a little dip in the bridge right here, at least in the left lane. So right there is the dip, and that's a little dangerous. So we've got our first surprise corner right here. Then we've got this left turn followed by like a 3 or 4 apex right into our second surprise corner. 1, 2, oh, just 2 apexes. And second surprise. Now, what is between here and the third? We've got a sweeping right-hander with a quick left, followed by a straight. Very long straight. So a sweeping right, quick left, long straight, Very, very long straight. Then a double, triple apex left. With the sweeping right, and is this the surprise corner? It is, okay. So it's a sweeping right, quick left, long straight, followed by a triple apex, followed by a left and then a triple apex right, or a triple apex right? I don't know. I kind of know the structure of that section now, so I'm going to pay even closer attention on the next loop. But after K-tree here, we've got just a right-hander and then a left-hander, and then we're at Milltown Cottage. And then we'll go from there. Let's make sure that's right. Got a right-hander, left-hander, and then we're at Milltown Cottage. Correct. Very cool, very cool. So this is just a little chicane. And we're at Milltown. And again, I'm going to be going pretty slow through this section because, as you can see, there's some shaking starting to happen. So I'm going to edit the track mod tonight or tomorrow and move it so that the shaking goes away. Then I can kind of go a little bit faster through this section. might cut the track a tiny bit earlier than I did back there, because, I don't know, the end of that track really comes out of nowhere. I feel like I'll cut it just right after the corner starts, because I want to include that next corner after Guthrie's in there so that you know what line you should be taking up to it. But I don't want it to like surprise you the end of the track right there, so you just like fall off the edge of it. I almost kind of want to put like barriers up along, like across the track, so that you can't ride over to that drop off right there. But maybe I'll put the barriers like right after the corner starts or something. Shaking is starting, so I'm going to go pretty slow until we get back into Milltown. Let's see what's between here at Waterworks and the Ramsey hairpin. We've got a long sweeping corner here, long sweeping corner here, sort of a double apex long sweeper, and then we're at the hairpin. So it's just a long right-hander and then a long, slightly long left, and then you're at Waterworks from the hairpin. Now the shaking should start to smooth out a little bit, so I'll find going a little bit faster from here. So after Milltown Cottage up here, we've got just a right-hander and a left-hander, and then we're at Guthrie. And then I think it's like 2 corners until you're at that slightly long straight. Maybe 2 more corners until you're at that first surprise corner. So let's see if I'm right about that. We've got the right-hander here, left-hander, and then K-tree should be up here. Now there's another right and another left. So 2 sort of chicane things. Then we're at K-tree. And there should be a right and a left into the long straight. Maybe. Not really, no. Well, kind of. That's the surprise corner right there. It's the long straight between here and the next one. That's a big bump right there. I think this is the straight. And it's just kind of straight. Didn't they have a funny name for that in Top Gear? It was like the almost straight or something like that. This is the almost straight of the R1M. What was the name of that? It was, I don't know, it was kinda or almost or something like that. It was funny. That might have been their Grand Tour test track. So we've got a few left-handers, and then this right leading up into this surprise corner right here, and then Red Salty. So I gotta pay attention again back in that Carol Moore section to really just how it's structured. Let's see what a good marker is for the end of Salty straight right here. So we're going. Excuse me. And we've got these two signs right here. Is that a good indication of this? Okay. So look for the two signs, and then this kink is pretty much right after it. I don't really know the corners between Quarry Bends and Ballaugh up here. It seems to just be a long sweeper and then a shorter sweeper leading into Quarry Bends. This is a tough section. Tough to memorize. Alright, again, if I drop it up here on my U-turn, we do not count dropped bikes in this series. Oh, I got a lap point there. Scratch the paint. Yeah, the slow speed in this game is so strange. It's like it's like your bike springs or something like that. It's very, very strange slow speed. Alright, so we've got two long sweepers leading into Ballaugh. There's one. And is this two? This is more of a kink in the road than like Ballaugh. And we've got a long sweeper. I think there's a left turn leading into Quarry Bends after this straight right here. Or maybe a right turn. Yeah, right. Okay, so you pretty much just have like two right turns going into Quarry Bends. what's a good breaking point for the solving here? I think you can take this sweeping corner pretty fast up here. Yeah, you could probably take that in 4th or 5th gear if you really wanted to. There's this dip right here. So after this surprise corner, we've got a tight left and a long, like triple apex right leading into our second surprise corner. And I'm going to pay pretty close attention to everything after that, leading up to cage. 1, 2, yeah, just a double apex, okay. So, there's that. Sweeping right, quick left, straight. So after the straight, we've got a quick corner and a sweeping corner, and then the second surprise corner. After the straight in this direction, we've got still kind of straight. It's tough. It's tough to categorize these corners because I'm only using one lane here. But got a triple apex right here. With a quick right. Sweeping right. Okay, then this is the surprise. So after that corner, there's a long sweeping in the other direction. There's a long sweeping right, and then a triple apex left, and then pretty much at that long straight. Again, just after we get out of Milltown, the shaking is going to get a little bit worse, so I'm going to be taking this next section kind of slowly. I gotta remember that. After Joey's, that next long left is a triple apex going into Guthrie's. If I drop it, it doesn't count. So this is a triple apex right. And I want to pay attention to these right-handers after Joey's. Let's see what they are. We've got one apex there. A slightly long thing, long straight. Another apex there. Another apex there. Another there. Another there. So pretty much it's like a double apex left-hander first, then we've got kind of a triple apex. And then it's like a short left-hander after that going into Joey. So it's pretty much like five corners, probably all in one if you're taking them at speed. But it's 5 apexes that you want to look out for. This is like a double or triple apex into Ramsey hairpin. No, just pretty much like a long sweeping corner. So here we've just got a right and a left, and then I think we're at K-tree. And after K-tree, is it just a single right and left and then we're at the straight? And it's just a kind of straight. man, this section feels totally different going in reverse than it does going the normal direction. Because whatever straight is here just looks totally different in reverse. Is this it here? So the kind of straight is between the second and third surprise corner. So there's the second surprise corner there. Now we've just got a double apex. 1, 2. This right-hander here. And then we're back at solo. We know to start braking when we see the two signs on either side of the road. There. But we could probably wait a little bit longer. Yeah, this feels totally different in reverse than it does normal direction. Much more so than the other sections that I've practiced. Again, if I drop the bike here, we're not counting. Although I seem to have run out of Tearoff, so I might just head to the pit. I wonder if my tires are worn as well. Let's see. Ooh, yeah. Those are some worn tires. Still feeling really good, so I think I've got like 4 or more loops in me for tonight. So we're gonna have a long stream tonight. Gonna start going a little bit faster too, especially after I really get that whole Caramore section down. I think I'm pretty close to having it like relatively down. It's so tricky though. There's so many. It all looks the same. So still gonna take Caramore pretty slowly, but I should be able to start going pretty fast on the other sections. I think I might start talking a little bit less as well. Just focus on the ride. Gonna go pretty slowly for the first half of this loop or so as my tires warm up as well. Next surprise corner should be coming up. Here, right after this long sweeping right-hander. So there should be like 5 apexes that I'm looking out for going out to Joy's. Here's one. There's 2. 3. 4. And 5 right up at Joy's. Very nice. This left hand is a triple apex. 1, 2, 3, indeed. If I drop the bike here, we're not counting. My heart's just pounding right now for some reason. I wish I had a heart rate monitor. That would be very entertaining. For some reason, when I built my PC a while ago, the Bluetooth drivers didn't work. And I'm not very good with computers, so I didn't really know how to fix that. But I've not been able to use Bluetooth with my computer ever since I built it. So I want to try to figure that out so that I can get a heart rate monitor and put it on screen, because that would be very entertaining, I think. I think I'm probably going 110 or 115 right now. Shaking in this section is just, it's unmanageable. I gotta fix it. if I drop the bike up here, we're not counting it. Definitely get a more straight run up to that jump right there. That's a little sketchy. And you want to go so fast up that hill right there, but you got to brake earlier than you think. If I drop the bike, I'm not counting. But it don't drop. That wall is really scary right there. Excuse me. That whole section is really scary in reverse. that wall comes out of nowhere right there. I gotta remember that. Oh my goodness, that's another. That is a bump right there too. Goodness me. Bump right there too at the end of the straight. So the wall that I want to remember is at the end of that sweeping corner after the last surprise turn. And then there's a big bump right after that. And then there's a bump at the end of the kind of straight. So I can break even later than that. Check my tires real quick. Yeah, I'll change them. Still feeling pretty good. I think I got at least one more, probably 2 more loops in me, and then I might end the stream after that, but I'm feeling really good tonight. You know what? I think I might do these next 2 loops using the whole road, both lanes. I'm gonna go a good bit slower because the course kind of changes when you use both lanes, but I'll give it a shot. Last time I did this, I had a really, really close call over near Glen Helen, but we'll take it pretty slowly and we'll just try to use the whole road here. Ooh, that was kind of a close call. Yeah, this course changes a lot when you use both lanes. Alright, we're going to be extra careful using both lanes in the reverse direction, because I do not know this road. It's going to be very, very deliberate with my inputs here. That's a nice corner going in reverse. Bump. There's a bump at the end of the street. Right here. My heart is racing right now. This is fun. I think I'm going to do one more loop using both lanes, and then I might cool down for a little bit, and then I'll probably be on the swing after that. My heart is racing. Oh my gosh. don't need to start braking until pretty late on this straight. That is a scary corner right there, Crookshanks. Oh my gosh, I have no idea how to take it. Apparently, I want to say it's been resurfaced recently in real life so that there's more of camber there, but there's such little camber in that corner, at least in this track line. It's so difficult to get right. The bike really wants to like go out to the left toward that big wall. scary course. Oh, that's fun though. A little bit of a bump right there. I don't really know what's coming next, so I'm going to slow it down a little. Bumpy, bumpy, bumpy.
Probably going a little bit too fast through that section for as well as I know it. Or should I say as badly as I know it? We are back in Ballaugh. My heart is racing right now. That is such a rush. Oh my goodness. Alright, I think I'm gonna head back over to Guthrie's and I'm just gonna go slow. I'm gonna keep it in one lane and we'll just do a cool down and then that'll be the end of the stream. I wonder how many calories I burn when I'm doing that. That's crazy. That's so scary, man. Oh my gosh.
Whew, and that is that. Full days without crashing. I think I did like 10 or 11 loops there. Oh. I had one kind of close call going in the reverse direction on the last loop, but it wasn't too bad. The track just changes so much when you start using both lanes. It's crazy how much it opens up. And it's crazy how much the turns change, but that's that. Thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like and please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.